Good afternoon to you, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for Sunday, the 22nd of September 2013. Right now, the Atlantic Basin is mostly inactive, and a big part of the reason behind that is where the Madden-Julian Oscillation is currently located. That favorable upward motion, we typically look for it to be in phases 1 and 2, which you can see here. This is where it was earlier in September, and we were able to produce, the Atlantic Basin was anyway, I say we, thinking about the Atlantic Basin, a few storms, including Hurricane Umberto. Then the Madden-Julian Oscillation went into the circle, which means that it is very weak to non-existent, and now it has emerged again over here in phases 5 and 6, which favors the Western Pacific and the Maritime Continent region, generally speaking the Western Pacific overall. And this gave rise to that super typhoon out there, Usagi, which made landfall about 100 miles east-northeast of Hong Kong earlier today. So with the MJO forecast to just remain in this area over the next 2 weeks, and that's what you see here is the 2-week plot. The thick line is the first week, the thin line is the second week. You clearly see that it's not coming back around towards the Western Hemisphere, so it doesn't look like we're going to have anything significant to worry about in the Atlantic Basin over the next week to 10 days, and probably more than that. Although, right now, 0% chance of development. This is the leftovers of what was once a curious system. We took some interest in it. It was 95L in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll look at a satellite loop. Pretty good little low pressure area sitting down here. Any of the oil rig interests, the energy interest in the Gulf, lots and lots of oil rigs out there. Definitely some stormy conditions, windy, choppy seas, squalls down here. But the key is this is now tangled up with a front, and that means that it won't have a chance to develop. There's dry air coming in behind this front and lots of strong upper level winds out on top of the front. Conditions just not conducive for this to develop, but it'll continue to spin down there for several days as this trough lifts out, and it'll just basically dissipate. Good news here, look at all the sunshine that you can see by the lack of cloud cover in parts of Mexico that were so heavily impacted by flooding rains as of late. Good to see that the sun is coming out so that that area can dry out. I mentioned that typhoon, Usagi, now inland over China. It made landfall. Hong Kong is right in here. It made landfall to the east and northeast of Hong Kong by a pretty good clip, margin, whatever. And now it's inland over mainland China, and it'll slowly rain itself out. And there's another typhoon, tropical storm actually, out to the east. This will recurve well away from any significant land impacts. There's a few islands out here that could stand in its way for some wind and rain, but that's about it. Things are nice and calm globally for the most part now that Usagi is inland. That was looking like it could have been a really big deal for Hong Kong. Luckily, it's more of just a nuisance than anything else. Big hurricane or typhoon making landfall directly over Hong Kong like that, or just to its south, is very similar to something coming into Tampa Bay, or a west-northwest track into New Orleans, or something like Ike coming into Houston-Galveston area, which that did happen, of course, in 2008. Anyway, that is it for the tropics. Not much to talk about as we get ready to end the month of September. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm Mark Sudduth. HurricaneTrack.com is my site. Always an honor to do these videos for you. Hopefully you learned something from them. I'll be back throughout the week with more.